Disclaimer: Bandai Namco really likes to claim copyright on the anime mentioned in this video, and I have already won a claim against them in one of my videos, so I will be using mostly still images when discussing the anime content in this review, and some clever editing to avoid the wrath of Bamco. Yohane the Parhelion Blaze in the Deepblue is a video game spin-off of Yohane the Parhelion Sunshine in the Mirror the anime, which is in itself a fantasy spin-off of the pop idol anime Love Live Sunshine. The main character, Yohane, is a singer/fortune-teller/friendly neighborhood errand girl/giant dog befriender who tries to make it big as a pop idol in the city only to fail and take up residence in a small town as a magician/fortune-teller who solves mysteries with a group of cute anime girls, which include a giant dog who is scared of bugs, a candy merchant with a giant pig, an innkeeper, a petite male carrier girl who takes to the skies to deliver, the mayor of the town, her sister who is a fairy but also a normal-sized girl and also sometimes a machine AI, an animal researcher and veterinarian who can read minds, sometimes, a blonde demon lordess with social anxiety, and a mechanic lady with a robot frog who builds playground equipment for children. In the anime, it's mostly a magical slice of life where nothing really happens except for Yohane helping the townsfolk and learning how she fits in. The girls also like to break into song because Love Live idols, and there are a few magical battles, but that's about it. Like the anime, the accompanying video game is light, not much happens, and ultimately it's a bit shallow, but it gives you those warm fuzzies. The game begins with all of Yohane's friends getting lost in a dungeon, and you have to rescue them. The game is a Metroidvania, side-scrolling adventure game with extremely light RPG elements. It is developed by NT Creates, which also worked on Galgun, Bloodstained, Blaster Master Zero, and all of those Azure Striker Gunvolt Super Ultra Fortana Type 0 Mega Supreme games. It's around $25 to $30, $26 right now on sale. It's only about 5 to 7 hours long and is not as robust as the other games from the same company. There is no secret final boss or extra scenarios. You simply find the girls, beat the bosses, search around for some extra treasures, and you're done. It also seems like the boss rush at the end of the game was put in to both add that feature in the main game instead of a separate mode. It artificially extends an already short game. After an entire year of playing Souls-like games that are crushingly difficult, Yohane is a nice Sunday afternoon game that's not very hard but is satisfying to fight and to explore. You have up to 4 slots for either weapons or equipment, and then the girls you rescue become summons. Using a weapon or summon uses up a small amount of MP except for your starting summon, the big fluffy dog Lailaps, who doesn't use any because she's such a good girl, yes she is. As you explore the dungeon, you can defeat enemies and destroy jars that will get you various supplies that can be used to make new weapons and accessories. The game will tell you when you have enough materials to craft something, and you can choose when and where to craft things. They give you a nice big list. The game will tell you how much defense power and HP you get when equipping an accessory, and how much attack power you get when equipping a weapon. I tend to use the short sword-based weapons and equip rings that reduce the cost required to summon weapons or girls. There is not a huge amount of variety, but you will find a playstyle that works for you. There are no healing items in the dungeon, but you can buy them back at Yohane's House of Fortune-Telling using yen that you will find plenty of exploring the dungeon. You travel back to Yohane's house after a death, or you can choose to warp there manually using the game map. The game is very generous with fast travel. The game's progression is as follows. Explore a dungeon area, find the boss, rescue the girl. You will find treasure chests with items and some glowing ones that have new traversal skills in them like climbing, double jumping, and swimming. The girls also start with one ability, and going back to the house will initiate a conversation with one of the girls, and they will tell you that they lost something in the dungeon. Completing the quest and finding the item gives the girl a secondary ability. All of these traversal skills and girl abilities are necessary to finding all the treasure and finding all of the explorable areas, the Metroidvania parts. The map is very nice and easy to read, and treasures you need to find and rooms you haven't yet searched for are easily identifiable, making your search easy. The combat animations are very slow and don't have any kind of canceling, and this may turn off the average action game fan. But this is a comfortably paced Metroidvania, and the control is slightly floaty, but it's not that noticeable. It feels relatively good to move, attack, and fight bosses and enemies. Every time you attack with anything, there is a slight delay and you will stop moving for a bit. This happens in the air as well. This is a little bit annoying at first, but it fits into the relaxed nature of the game and gives it that retro feel. You can easily fight in the air without too much effort, since it adds a nice extra layer to the combat and traversal. I also personally like how I can stay in the air attacking and not get a thumb cramp because I had to mash the jump button along with the attack button. Hey, I'm old, my thumb cramps up, okay? You can alternate between your summons and weapons when attacking. Since the animations are so long, you can attack faster by alternating Lailaps with your weapon. Also, Lailaps' AoE range of the attack can cheese some enemies and allow you to keep away from really dangerous ones. Bosses are highly telegraphed, and a little practice goes a long way. Most are manageable and are pretty fair fights, with only a few nasty surprises awaiting you. Most combat allows for a bit of experimentation, as some weapons and summons do a lot of damage. I only hoped there was a little bit more game in this area, but we will talk about that in this next section called constructive criticism. Yeah, this used to be the complaint section, but my therapist, aka waifu, Kanan Matsura, said that I should be nicer. So I'm working on that, and it's really important. The complaint section. Constructive criticism. This game is easily exploited. There are some combinations that just wreck bosses. Using Dia's motorbike does more than 4 times the damage of a weapon attack, and with the ability to farm yen and therefore potions infinitely, the bosses beat DOA. Some of the bosses are a nice challenge, with lots of patterns and tricks to keep you on your toes, but others are basically, well, this. It's a bit unbalanced. There is not a lot of enemy variety. This makes the game very easy. Once you've encountered an enemy, you will see them again, and despite increased HP, they are still a bit of a pushover. The enemy placement is either really bad or really sparse. Sometimes there's nothing around, and sometimes they put a really big enemy that does a lot of HP damage in a small space. They just love poison in this game. They put it everywhere, and it's the kind of poison that hurts and doesn't go away over time, so pick up some antidotes or know where the latest save spot is. You also get this accessory that prevents it, but your defense will have to be drastically reduced to use it. There are poison spouts, rotating poison spitters, a lot of enemies have poison attacks. At least there's not a poison river stage. Ah, son of a... I'm sorry you had to hear that, Conan. No, I'm really... No, no, you're still my favorite waifu. No, I love the blue hair and the ponytail. Yep. Okay, well, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. I'll do a review. We'll talk about it later, Conan. Come on. In conclusion, Yohane the Parhelion, Blaze in the Deepblue, needs a better, more digestible title. But it's a cozy game based on a very musical and fun anime. Despite some shallow design and some underwhelming combat, it still manages to summon a cute and magical experience that should delight even the most jaded of dungeon-weary waifus. This is Dan T of Twisted Banana Productions, professional waifu hunter and Kanan Matsura simp, signing off.